Hey, Jester here. Holy moly, I didn't expect so many people to like my Mystic Spearhand video, seeing that it's a more niche approach to play the game. Thank you so much for the views. It's really encouraging for me to continue producing this sort of video. Seriously, thank you. You guys are awesome. Now, on to the video. As you can see, I'm back in jail. I finally finished my first playthrough and now starting my second. So I'm gonna give you a spoiler warning as some clips will have post-game footage. 3, 2, 1, pause the video. Alright, time for some style switching action with my Warfare build idea, Mystic Strider. Ooh, what's that? I hear a gameplay montage coming up. Let's go! This one might be a bit shorter than the last two vids because it's mostly combining tech I explained in them, plus some extra bits and pieces. I don't know, we'll see. Now before we get into it, let me explain the point of this setup. This is just in case anyone gets the misconception that this is a one-shot build, or an efficiency dependent one. It's more of a skill expression based one. And the first point of this build is that this is the setup that I found to have the most flow while switching between weapons. Second point is to challenge your ability to outmaneuver your enemies. Third point, one-shot and OP builds are already covered quite extensively by other content creators, so there's no need for little old me to add to that topic. And lastly, but most importantly, is to have fun and look cool. That said, I'll still give you a warning that this is gonna be kind of a hard mode, and it's gonna put your skills and situational awareness to the test. But don't worry, I'll give you some easier setup suggestions along the way if you find it's too difficult to use. Alright, now with all the disclaimers out of the way, we can finally start. For today's video, I will explain what I know about rearmament so far, explain how to use this weapon setup, and how to adapt to the situation by not scripting your attack patterns. Trust me, that's not a good time. Here are the augments I use just in case anyone was curious, and you can change them to your liking. I just like having a lot of stamina so I can do more. So now to explain rearmament. Everyone knows at this point that it allows you to switch weapons or vocations, but that's just the surface level. You see, there are restrictions on when you can switch weapons. There are also restrictions on what actions you can take after switching, but this second one mostly applies to when you're in the air, so it's not like DMC Dante where everything is free flow. The first restriction you need to take note of is generally, you can't switch weapons in the middle of an attack or skill animation. For example, you're only allowed to switch weapons after Task Toss is done animating. You have some leeway with light attacks though. The next restriction is you're only allowed to take certain actions after switching weapons in the air. For example, you can't switch to Mage and Float after using Dragoon's Foin, but you're allowed to do Skull Splitter instead. And then there's a special case of being able to take action when you're high enough above the ground, and only in conjunction with specific moves. From my testing so far, they generally allow moves that do a slam from the air, like Skull Splitter, Cloudward Slash, and Sky Dragoon's Fest, and generally prevent you from doing moves that move horizontally like Concussive Leap. I think this is to prevent players from going to places they're not supposed to go. I haven't fully tested all the weapons to utilize rearmament in a way that bypasses these restrictions, so I'll probably post a video when I find out, but please go and experiment on your own. Make sure to comment below what you find out. So that was rearmament. I haven't even told you what weapons to use yet, right? No! Well, it's duo spear, then daggers, then bow. At first I was simply looking for the smoothest weapon switches that allows you to keep having actions to do without stopping, but it turns out that it's a complete package in terms of your engagement distance. You have a distance closer, a close quarters, and a disengage into ranged. So this is how the lineup functions. You close the distance by using Dragon's Foin or Quick Fought. Here I choose to add some flair by using Foin, Fest, Bolt Cancel, then Quick Fought. Or you can choose to do the Bury the Light sequence if you want to be saucy. Link in the cards on the top right. If you want to keep it simple and save stamina, you can simply jump into a Quick Fought and it will teleport you in the air next to the enemy. Before you drop, use Rearmament and Air Carve before you touch the ground. The Air Carve is to prevent looking awkward and simply falling to the ground. It would defeat the purpose of using an Air Quick Fought if you didn't utilize it. Alternatively to the Air Carve, you can use Skull Splitter instead. This will most likely instantly kill the enemy, but will leave you in a long recovery state that opens you up to other enemy attacks. I would suggest using Swift Step as soon as possible if you see enemies trying to attack you. And from here you can employ the Swift Carve game plan. Link also in the cards for an in-depth Thief gameplay info dump. That was so hard to say. In-depth Thief gameplay. In-depth Thief gameplay. Next, if you want to complete the sequence, you can simply do a single Swift Carve to position yourself next to an enemy, then use Concussive Leap. Either neutral or directional works, but they have different follow-ups, which I will explain now. Concussive Leap is a special case because it allows you to cancel its full animation by using Rearmament. Doing this will stop your momentum in the air and switch weapons, aka a weapon switch cancel. There are 2 points in where you can cancel Concussive Leap. The first point is right after you throw the stun bomb. I would suggest using this with a directional Concussive Leap, as this will keep you slightly in the air right next to the enemy while they will be staggered by the blast. Next, all you need to do is press kick and shoot your arrow. The second point you can cancel Concussive Leap is towards the end of the leap. This one is best used with a neutral Concussive Leap because the backflip puts you in a state where your kick will likely track. I say lightly because it doesn't always track. Remember to delay the kick so that you are leveled with the enemy, otherwise you'll be kicking air. Then same as the directional Concussive Leap cancel, after the kick, loose an arrow. This will send you quite far from the action and will reset your engagement. You're now free to re-engage or simply continue with Archer to shoot a few arrows and finish off some low health targets. You can use this opportunity to regen some stamina as well. If for whatever reason you don't want to disengage, you can skip the kick and lose an arrow instead. This will put you in the fray with a bow though. So in short, the core process behind this weapon lineup is get in, deal some damage, get out, and reset. It's a complete package. It feels quite badass and kind of Batman-like. And speaking of Batman, yeah, you can do that too. But you'll need to add another dagger after your bow, just for fluidity's sake, instead of switching your weapons twice. Now since the skills I recommend include Concussive Leap, Dragoon's Foin, Sky Dragoon's Fest, and Rearmament, you're gonna have to rely on your core skills and your actual player skills to deal damage. I mean, look at Scarlet Kisses and Puncture Dart. The build is still powerful, but it's not gonna be easy. This is where the adaptability of this build comes in. Sure, you have all the ranges of engagement, but you have to decide when to engage, how to dodge and retaliate, and when to disengage to be effective. Don't go about doing pre-planned sequences if the situation doesn't call for it. For example, you can cut the sequence short by using Air Twin Fangs after Concussive Leap to thin the crowd if there are too many enemies. The air finisher also disengages you a little, but not nearly as far as the Archer's air kick. The next point of adaptability of course has to include dealing with large enemies, since a lot of the game has to do with fighting them. This one's gonna be fun, especially when you chain knockdowns on them. I will recommend upgrading all your weapons in Dwarven Smithing to increase your knockdown values, cause toppling big guys is where you start being able to carry out your game plan. And here's how I go about dealing with large enemies. First, I engage with Foin to start building up knockdown while charging Bolt. After hitting and charging up, I release Bolt and Quick Fought to get in position for a Fest to land me on the back of the enemy. Remember to start charging Bolt right after Quick Fought. I then release the second Bolt to allow myself to switch to Thief and reposition myself to a weak spot. Now it's time to go ham on them with Scarlet Kisses. From here, you need to judge the situation if you need to disengage or not, because large enemies will try to throw you off. This is why I don't stick to Spearhand and use Winding Cut, because it's a long animation and the only way you can cancel it is by using Bolt Release. And while charging Bolt, you can't regen stamina, but you do regen during Scarlet Kisses. Now if you feel it's safe to press on the attack, use Concussive Leap for more knockdown build up into Twin Fangs, which also builds up knockdown. Remember to hold Twin Fangs so that you land and grab onto the enemy. You can continue Scarlet Kisses from there. Now for your escape. You can conventionally jump off and run away, or you can be both stylish and efficient by jumping off, cancelling your air momentum by switching to Archer, kick, and loose arrow. Aside from dealing damage as you escape, you might even score a knockdown from the kick and shot since you've already been building up knockdown before this. Now you've reset the engagement, you can choose to regen some stamina, or you can start the whole process again. And if you really need more stamina, you can add an Archer Staff after the bow to use Galvanize. Also, if it so happens that the enemy is low on health after you've disengaged, you can finish it off with Puncture Dart for an epic kill moment. Archer is really good even without the weapon skills. And the last point of adaptability is your defense. Your game plan is not always gonna go smoothly. Enemies will try to interrupt you by throwing things, casting spells, or even charging at you from a long distance. So if you find yourself needing to react on the fly, I'll remind you of your defensive options. Sky Dragoon's Fest is an iframe counter, Swift Step is an iframe dodge, and the Archer's Slide, which you can perform by pressing loose after dashing. I'm not 100% sure if it has iframes, but at least it's a tool you can use to reposition. Its activation is a bit hard to execute reactively if you are in an aiming state. You'll have to cancel aim, dash, then slide. All the more rewarding if you can pull it off. The slide itself has quite a lot of knockback when connecting with an enemy, so maybe you can use this to interrupt some attacks. Oh yeah, don't forget my advice from the Spearhand video. You can use Dragoon's Foin to completely get out of the area of combat if you feel like you need a complete reset. All these defensive options having different inputs makes the skill ceiling even higher. It feels so rewarding, at least to me, once you get familiar with this build. The flow state is just amazing. I think that about wraps it up for this Mystic Strider Warfarer build. Side plug for my music remix channel link in the description. All the songs I use in this video are either created or remixed by me, so I may come back with more Warfarer build ideas. But for now, I will probably try to produce some of those high-level Warfarer gameplay videos to showcase some skill for your viewing pleasure. Do comment your own Warfarer builds or if you would like me to test a build theory you have. Like always, I hope to have given you some inspiration and even more fun when playing this game. That's all I have for now, fellow Arisen. Like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Jester yet again, signing off. Oh my lord, the views got even more when I finish this video. Thank you!